what's happening? Let's go back, right, to September 2020. Do you remember 2020? In 2020, I shot a video. I've never finished the video. I've never finished editing it, right? But there's this looming weight on the back of my shoulders, this fear that drives me mad in the back of my brain that I haven't finished it. It's going, Dylan, you need to finish the video before you can move on to anything else in your life. So honestly, it's been there. So it's also taken up 300 gigabytes on my hard drive. That needs to be dealt with. Just after the first lockdown ended, do you remember the first one, the fun, that one had just ended and everything was opening back up in the UK, and Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England were all working together on like a cross-pollination, collaborative social media marketing campaign called Escape the Everyday, and it was to get people out and about, get the industry moving, get people moving about again, right? It was still early days of all the restrictions and the social distancing and all that stuff. So it was a weird little time, and I was part of the collective of Northern Ireland influencers. We were selected to travel to different parts of the UK. I went to Scotland. I went to Dundee. Never been to Dundee. Other people went to Edinburgh. Other people went to London. I was going to Dundee, and it was a nice little trip. I think it was 3 days in total there, dicking around doing stuff. So my goal was shooting Instagram stories and taking photographs and just sort of saying, hey, you can travel again, right? Little did we know that would stop very shortly. But for this period of time, we were in a bubble. I shot so much stuff, and it was kind of interesting, and it annoys me that I never uploaded this video. So I wanted to upload it, give you an explanation as to, what we're doing here, folks. If I had edited this video on time, this is what it would have looked like. Roll the video. Here we are. We're in Dundee in Scotland. Didn't expect it to be hot and sunny. Air. Edinburgh. It's like my second or third time to Scotland, but every time I've been in the mountains, filming mountain bike races. So first time to actually explore a city. It was the first flight I've taken in almost a year. First flight I've ever taken on one of those propeller planes, believe it or not. And probably one of the shortest flights of my life, but it was great. It's great to be out moving about again. I always struggle when I'm traveling because I'm always like really nervous and apprehensive until I get to a hotel and I can settle down, put all my crap down, take all the stuff out of my bag. I'm in the hotel called the Apex Hotel, and I've just noticed USB chargers. Absolute legends, because I forgot all the plugs. It suddenly dawned on me, I was like, I didn't bring any plugs, I just brought USB cables. I charge everything as USB at home. And then you come out and not everywhere has it. One of the places that's really close to the hotel is the V&A Design Museum Gallery. Gallery? Is it a gallery? Or is it a museum? I think it's a museum. It's art. It's a gallery, isn't it? Apparently there's only one of them outside of London. I've never been to the London one either. I really should have. If you didn't know this about me already, I have been a graphic designer and art director for like years. But it's been a long time since I've been to any sort of design gallery or exhibition or museum. Pretty cool looking building though. Museum. It's pretty cool. I get bored of museums pretty quick, but it's a pretty incredible building, both internally and outside. So apparently the whole seafront here has been like going through a whole redevelopment thing for like a 30-year redevelopment, something like that, and it's halfway through that. And this is one of the big like staple pieces on the seafront.
can see why they're trying to develop. They've got loads of awesome access to the water. Quite a cool tour by one of the people that worked in it. Took me around and explained to me a bit about Dundee and the history about it, which I didn't know at all, which you wouldn't expect me to know. So it's quite an interesting little city from what they were explaining to me. It's got a very like long industrial background heritage, but in more recent years they have started to see a lot more tech, especially in the world of gaming, things like Minecraft, stuff like that. So I generally am quite an express tourist, so I struggle being anywhere doing anything touristy for long periods of times. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna take some photographs and then go get some food. There's a lot of color. Hold on, check this out. There's letters on these, right? They line up. So there's obviously a spot where you can get them perfect. There's an H, right? South. Whenever I do any sort of traveling, I'm horrible when it comes to eating. Like, I forget to eat. If I hadn't bought a sandwich this morning, I would have forgotten to have eaten all day. Pamela gives me a hard time for it all the time. Did you eat? No, I didn't eat. What's wrong with you? I'm like, I barely drank water. It always takes me like a day whenever I'm doing a trip to get into like a momentum of being able to function as a regular human being. So I'm going for dinner now. Too fancy for a hat. Normally, if it's too fancy for a hat, I don't go in, but it's pretty cool looking. And the menu looks amazing. It's a real bad habit for not listening to people as well. She's telling me something about soup and octopus, and I was like, yep. All I was thinking was steak and beer. Soup is one of those things I only ever order when I go out for dinner. Pamela's always trying to make me soup, and I'm like, nah, not for me, thanks. When I go out, I'm like, I'll have soup, thanks. Get off my steak or something. Full. Now I'm full. That place was really nice. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's been ages since I've had a steak cooked in a restaurant. Nice glass of Malbec to go with it. I like a restaurant that has good service. Good service makes such a big difference. Friendly staff, they knew their menu, they had recommendations. That's all you can ask for when you go to a restaurant you've never been to. Welcome to Broughty Ferry. It's about 6 minutes outside Dundee on a train. It was a pretty simple, cool little train journey. It's on the River Tay. Is that a coast? Is it coastal? Is it coastal? It's not coast if it's on the side of a river. What's that called? Does anyone know what that is? It's not fresh water. Seawater. Sea river? It feels like a coastal town. It's like a little residential, suburban, quaint village kind of place. Very, very cool. Dundee's all the way out there, and there's these big, mad oil rig things. Like when you step away from it and you come out here, you can see how you can sort of get an idea of its industrial background. But it was cool. So I'm down here today, going to do a few hours around Broughty Ferry and then hop on the train back and go and check out some other stuff in Dundee. Noisy little birds out there. They're like flying about trying to catch bugs by the looks of it. It's a drawbridge. Alright. I know this is a really silly thing to like get excited about, but I'm fascinated by tides, especially in places like harbors. Like this is clearly low tide, and this tide comes right up over all this. One moment you can walk there, next moment you can park a boat. Mental. I didn't expect this. I think because everything else was stones, people paddleboarding. seafront again. We're going to take a look at a ship here called the RRS Discovery. It's like an old 1901 like research vessel. It was captained by a guy called Robert Falcon Scott, and it's just an old ship, effectively. I just met up and had a coffee with a friend of mine who I know through Instagram. So it's cool getting to actually meet people who you chat to on Instagram in real life. And weirdly, he's from Belfast. He now works and lives in Dundee. So he took me for a quick walk about, and that was kind of cool to get a sort of locals insider knowledge from it. How do we go onto this boat? Like I generally tend not to do touristy stuff, but I do things like that just so that when I go home, my dad says, "Did you see the RSS Discovery?" I can go, "Yep, seen it." And then he goes, "What's it like?" And I go, "It was an old ship." It is 7 a.m. Sunday morning. I got up for two reasons. One, because it would be quiet. Two, to shoot sunrise. Because yesterday morning, the sunrise was just so nice. Reflecting off the water, bouncing off all the buildings. So I was like, I'll get up early, so set my alarm, 6 o'clock. I had a time lapse ready to go to do the sunrise coming up. Clouds. Sunniest city in Scotland. Clouds for me. And then, got a street cleaner out, following me around, which is, to be honest, that's just pretty much the story of my life. Totally worth the walk up. It's about 30 minutes. Worth it. The view is absolutely stunning. It's a funny one. There's that moment where you're lying in bed thinking, can I be bothered getting up? As a local person, coming up and shooting a location like this throughout the year can be so interesting as the seasons change, as the light changes, even as like a city like Dundee where the infrastructure is changing so much. But for me, the express tourist, being able to get up early when there's no one around, there's no noise, it's just me and a tranquil view. I absolutely love that. The people at the V&A the other day were telling me it's got that UNESCO Design Award. It's all to do with the like injection of creativity and business that's come from the whole gaming sector in Dundee. It's mad to think this was an old industrial city and now it's this tech hub, and also that it's cloudy and the one day that I want to shoot the view. See you later, Dundee.
So there you go. Dylan visits Dundee. There's no ending to the video. This is the ending to the video. The reason being, in the middle of all that, I had a sort of social anxiety collapse. I've never felt like that before in my life. Never felt like that, right? I have always been fine in crowds, always been fine doing things by myself, always been fine traveling, never really cared. Yeah, I'm self-conscious. We're all self-conscious, but I've never felt that like panic, that anxiety, panic attack, vibey stuff in my chest. It's fucking, so anyone who deals with that all the time, I feel for you. There, like day one, walking about, you can sort of see it in my eyes when I leave that art museum. I can feel it in my voice. I just wasn't feeling great. I had to phone my wife and be like, I can't move. She was like, you're all right, breathe. Made it all very difficult. So this entire trip was me battling against my own fight or flight. And believe me, most of me wanted to flight the fuck out of there. But the rest of me was like, you can't. Your flight's in 3 days. You can flight then, brother. For now, you're here to do a job. And I was that close to just ringing up the guys in Visit Scotland and going, not for me. I cannot do this. You'll need to find somebody else because I'm having a nervous breakdown over here. It was really difficult, all right? There's way worse shit going on in the world. I'm not trying to make a big poor Dylan thing. I'm just explaining why there's no ending, right? I dealt with that. It's a feeling I've never had before. I think it's all come from the whole pandemic bullshit, all right? All of that stuff. It's fucked with all our brains. It's definitely fucked with my brain, and it's made me struggle with a lot of stuff that I'd never struggled with before, and this was one of those. But there you go, you know, we learn something new about ourselves every day. And now I've finished this video. It's on the internet, and now I can find the next excuse to procrastinate making more stuff, because that one's been going on for 2 years, and I think it's run its toll. Also, I can delete all the raw footage now. That might make you uneasy. Well, I'm okay with that, because that's what I do when I finish shooting my videos. Just delete everything. All the raw in the bin forever. See you later. All right? I mean, sometimes I'll keep drone shots or very particular ones that I think would be hard to recreate. But for this, I'll just delete it all. Let me know, have you been to Dundee? What did you think of it? I quite liked it. I thought it was kind of an edgy little city. There were some sketchy areas. There were some beautiful areas. And I'd probably make it part of a trip if I was traveling around that part of Scotland again, because it was quite cool. Thanks very much to Love Great Britain and Visit Scotland for letting me be part of your influencer team. Dundee, if you've had an influx of people and you're like, why are there so many people visiting? It's because of my Instagram stories, okay? Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.